What's going on here? Liz here from Learn Robotics. And in this video, I'm going to be peeling behind the curtain on exactly how to set up your action plan so that you can take your engineering career to the next level. We're going to be doing a deep dive into my methodology. This is how I actually set up my action plan and how I advise my clients too. This is going to be a great one for you here. So let's hop right into it. I'm going to whiteboard this out so that you can get a better understanding of why I believe having an action plan is different than curriculum. Okay. So a lot of times people, when they're looking at courses, so let me just write the word course here. They're looking for a curriculum, right? And what is a curriculum? Some person somewhere at some point decided you need to learn these topics and you need to learn them in this order, right? So let's say you're taking a course on coding and you want to learn Python, then you may be looking at the curriculum because Python is a skill, right? So knowing how to program software using Python is a skill. Whereas what we do in my mentorship program is we do mentoring, and the mentorship is set up more like a program. And the difference is instead of somebody else, we'll just write them, whoever that person is, and there's somebody designing curriculum somewhere saying these are the things you need to do. What we're doing is we're taking a look at you. Okay. So everything that we're putting on your action plan is what you want and what you've done. So it's a combination of your past and your future, and it's all in one place. So the analogy that I like to tell people, and I was just on the call with a new client, and the way I described it to him that I think really hit it home for him understanding what it is I actually can help people with in my process and why it's much different than, a traditional course is kind of like a blueprint. So like if you're going to buy a home or you're going to design a home, let's say you want a custom home with, so many bedrooms, so many bathrooms, garage, you want the kitchen to look a certain way, you're going to need a blueprint of what this home looks like before you actually get to build the home, right? So you don't just get to show up to the lot and home is there. You actually have to go through approvals. You got to get the blueprints. You got to get sign-offs. You got to have like an actual plan that shows you exactly where everything is, where everything's located, how it's located. And then once you have the plan, you can break this down into milestones. So maybe when you have the blueprint, the first is to survey the land and make sure all the grading's done and make sure it's ready to go for a new build, right? That would be a milestone. Maybe another milestone is you need to coordinate with your subcontractors for different activities. Maybe it's foundation, maybe it's framing, maybe it's sewage and utilities, whatever. You have all these little sub milestones. And that's exactly the philosophy we use in mentorship, where we're taking the experience that you have in the past. So this can be your education. This can be your previous jobs. This can be any sort of projects or professional awards, things like that. Patents. I've actually had some clients that came in with some patents. We take all this and what we're doing is we're creating leverage. So leverage, how I like to describe it, is you're just stacking the deck with all of this basically examples, all of these examples and all of this reasoning as to why you are a good fit. So that way, when you walk into the new role in robotics and you're compared to the other candidates, they may have pieces of stuff that might look good, but if you can package it like this, then the hiring manager is going to be like, wow, this person, like you are the perfect fit. And so what we end up doing is we try to put you in a position where you're playing a game of one for one versus one to like many, infinite number of people. So this is where the action plan actually comes into play, is because you have the exact training methodology, if you want to call it that, over a 30-day sprint or over the 90-day program that you can execute against. And you can always go back to it, just like you can go back to a blueprint and figure out, okay, so this is the plan. Okay, I've executed this part. How do I do the next step? So what I wanted to do is just kind of explain how this all works and how it is different. And a lot of people, when they choose to join my program, they have done this already. So if you're at a point in your career where you've already taken courses and you've gotten like skills, what I love is when people come in and they've got all these different skills floating around. I'm just writing some skills here. So these are all the skills 1, 2, and 3. And they're just like, okay, I've got all the skills, I've got the certifications, but I don't really know what I'm doing with them. So how do I actually take all these skills and put them in a box and package them up so that they're nice and clean, and we've got this nice stacked deck that aligns perfectly with what the hiring manager is looking for or what that long-term career goal looks like, and getting really clear on, okay, this is the intention, this is where I'm at, okay, these are the paths. So if you can imagine, you've got all the experience that you have today from the past, and you want to get to this, let's call it your dream role in robotics. And then there might be, okay, you might be able to go this path. You might be able to go this path. You might be able to go this path. There's going to be different ways of getting there. And a lot of times what people tell you to do, and what I commonly see, and some advice I've gotten in the past, is to go back and get another degree. So if you have a bachelor's, go get a master's. That's going to get you to where you want to be. If you have a degree and you already have an advanced degree, go get some certifications. Okay, that maybe will get you to where you want to be. And what we do in mentorship is we're trying to find the critical path. And in engineering, I don't understand why people don't think of it like this, because I've met a lot of people that are like almost overeducated, where they've got so much education and so much leverage, but they're still in entry to mid-level roles, and they're not actually getting paid for all of the talent that they actually have. And so what I like to try to do is figure out, okay, well, you have all these options. These are always going to be available to you, but what is the shortest path from where you are today to the dream role in robotics? Like how can we get you there on a time frame that isn't going to take you 2 years, that isn't going to have you take a bunch of certifications that you probably won't even get credit for anyways? What does it look like? How can we put you in the best possible position to get into the right role as fast as possible? And generally we do a 30-day sprint, but it's really my 90-day program that is going to help you make that significant move on a critical path. So minimal effective dose. So what is the 20% that we can do to get you 80% of the way there as fast as possible and get you those results? So now what I want to do is I want to hop right over to the template to give you an understanding of how this is different than curriculum, right? Because when you do curriculum, you're doing work that other people want you to do to get a credential, like a certification. You're getting like some sort of cert. But just because you have the cert doesn't mean you're actually going to get to where you want to be. And I ran into this earlier in my career where I went to like 30 different training classes, and I spent a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of energy doing these training classes to get these certifications. And it didn't actually propel me anywhere. It didn't propel me anywhere until I figured out where exactly I wanted to end up and reverse engineering the critical path. And so this is my process. I've used it myself. My clients are using it, and I'm going to share it with you right now. So what I recommend doing is getting a notebook or getting something to write on, or open up a Google Doc and follow along. If you want a copy of my robotics career action plan, find me on Instagram at Learn Robotics. Give me a follow there and send me a DM with the word plan, and I'll send you a message with the action plan. With this template, and you can fill it out. These are the 5 core areas that I help my clients define and that I would recommend starting off. And there's lots of ways where people want to, make this pretty and come up with portfolios. And I agree to some extent, but I've found that if you have everything in just one document and it's, 10, 15 pages long, and you can keep expanding on it, it just makes it so much easier to keep track of everything, and you have one point of reference. So this is the process. The first category is your educational background. So this is going to be like degrees. This is going to be certificates. This is going to be courses, accolades, subject matter expertise, project work, any software tools that you know. Let me just pop in degrees. So what I typically tell clients is you want to get 2 to 3 to 4 layers deep. Okay. It's got your bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering. And and this is just an example, at University of Florida, whatever. And then let's say you have a Master's of Science in Mechanical Engineering at, let's just say, keep it simple, University of Florida. And here's where like I'm talking about the layers. So we go another layer deep. Okay, cool. So Bachelor's of Science, maybe you had a junior capstone doing whatever, and you had a senior capstone doing something else. And then what you want to do is you want to just keep going. So this project, and then you like summary, and then team, any sort of team or things that you were part of, potentially awards or like grade. I would include that if it's like high accolade. And then you would just repeat this here. So then maybe if you wanted to expand on the team, okay, maybe you could talk about it was like a 4-person team. I was the mechanical engineering designer, whatever, like your role. And then maybe you had to do like a presentation to the director of ME at whatever in the department. You kind of can get the theme of what I'm getting to here. So like the idea is that you want to go like many layers deep, and you want to be specific. This is very abbreviated just to show you the gist of this, but by the end of this, you're going to have like a nice recollection, and you can even put in here like the year, like when you did this. I know a lot of professionals, and like even myself early in my career, I was always amazed at how people could recognize dates. So when I was working at UPenn in the research lab, like especially in academia, I don't know if this is an academia thing specifically, but I did notice this when I was there, when I was working with the the PhDs and the professors and like the very senior people in the labs. They would always mention things in terms of timeline. So when they did this, so they would be saying like, yeah, in 2012 I was doing this, and in 2013 I was researching that, and like Q1 of 2015 I did this. And I was like always amazed at how they would remember and articulate their experience. And I think there's some validity in that, right? Because if you can say exactly in the timeline of when you've done something and you can communicate that, when you have a conversation with somebody else, they can say like, oh, no way, I was doing XYZ in summer of 2012, like, and that makes it for like an intelligent conversation. So I would include those details, and you may have to really think through this. This is something I tell my clients, like before we go through this together, is you definitely want to take the time to think about all of the work that you've done. And I would even go out on a limb and say, like, if you have a link or PDF of this document, then I would put it here. Like I would start bringing stuff in, or if you have like a folder with photos, or if you have like YouTube videos. The younger clients that I work with, they have a little bit of an advantage because they were taking pictures and videos of their work. And so if you do have this would be a great, paste the link, or if you have Facebook posts, or if you have Instagram posts, or if you have LinkedIn posts, or if you have photos, try to get kind of like the proof all in one spot. Because then what you can do, the goal of this part of the activity is to establish current state. Where are we at, right? So going back to this timeline, we want to know like where we actually are today. What do we have? Because I think a lot of times as engineers, we forget all the things that we've actually accomplished because we are just so used to just fighting fires and going through things linearly and like taking care of things as they get thrown at us, that we forget all of the things that we've actually accomplished that could actually be used as leverage to propel us to that next step in our careers. So I would recommend going through this. So like I said, the first category is the educational background. This is everything about you as it relates to education. I would recommend starting from college and up. If you don't have college experience, then you can do like highlights from high school. Like if you had a lot of awards in high school, if you were like National Honor Society or cum laude, or any of those like high academic accolades. I think we even have a section for that as well. Any sort of awards, science fair, math awards, anything that puts you in a good position, like of the things that you've accomplished, even presentations that you've done or conventions you've been invited to. I would put all of that in here. And then the next category here, so we've got project work, subject matter expertise. So So I would recommend just saying, like, of all the things that you do, what are the areas that you feel are like your zone of genius? So that might be, if you're a mechanical engineer, maybe it is 3D modeling in SolidWorks. And maybe you talk about like the, design that you did, whatever, like this whatever design. Maybe you include some photos or the file or a demo. One of the things that I do with my clients is I have them use Vimeo Record. Let me just write that here. So we just put Vimeo Record. It is a free screen sharing tool that allows you to film yourself, film your screen, and it creates a nice little link. So when you have all these little demos, you can add that to your action plan. You can also add the videos directly into your portfolio, and you've got this nice living document of basically proof that you are as good as you say you are, right? To get to that next level. And so that's what I would recommend for education. So the next category is professional background. So this is where we go through and we do a deep dive on your current role and your previous roles. And this may be, you may have more. So maybe it is you were previously, engineer at, let's say, ABC company. Like, you want to be specific, like your job title. I always like to do like responsibility. So responsibilities, maybe you have responsibility 1, responsibility 2, responsibility 3, etc. And then like maybe you talk about team, maybe you talk about accomplishments, maybe you talk about KPIs if you're more on the like mid-senior level looking to move into director or something more strategic, something more leadership. Maybe you want to talk about KPIs and what you hit. So quantifying your goals and how you achieve those targets. And you want to do that again in this tree format. Maybe you have maybe you wanted to reduce waste. Maybe that was a goal. I know I had our waste reduction goal years ago when I was in manufacturing. We also had a time goal. So a cycle time improvement. And these aren't just the KPIs. It's like, okay, well, what did you do to contribute to that? And I would say if you can get really clear on your previous roles, your current role, how long you've been doing each thing, you're going to start to see patterns in your experience that is going to allow you to create a narrative that is very compelling when you move your career to that next chapter. So what you want to do is go through this. There's another question in here, like, why change now? Like, why do you want this? And you need to give yourself some reasons as to why you want to make the move, because making a move or doing anything new is difficult. And so you can go back to your action plan. And when you're feeling like, oh, I don't know if I'm on the right track, or I don't know why I'm doing this, or why is this so difficult, then you can go back to your why change now. And you're going to have a list of reasons with some additional layers that you can use to help you stay on target. The other area that I want to highlight is this likes and dislikes. So once you've gone through all of your experiences, you're going to figure out as well with these patterns, like, oh, I really liked doing, this type of responsibility with this type of, KPI, or this type of team, or in this type of environment. You're going to start to notice that. And you're also going to notice the things that you just don't like. And as a professional, as you get more advanced, knowing where your line is, this is something that I tell my team. And when I'm doing hiring, it's like, if you can articulate like what you're the best at and what you like doing, which hopefully those two things are the same, you're the best at it and you like doing it, that's like the perfect combination. And then where your line is, like, nope, I am not this. And if you can be that person in an interview or in a conversation where you can clearly distinguish who you are and who you're not, then it makes it very easy for companies to say, like, wow, this person really knows what they're looking for, and their goals and their strengths match exactly what we're hiring for, and you're a good fit, right? Because if you're trying to be everything for everyone, it gets very confusing and it's very difficult to get really good. But if you know where your line is, where your zone of genius cuts, and you can articulate that, that's going to make it so much easier for you to move to that next level when you're ready to do so. And then let's move on to section 3 here. What do you want to be doing? So now we transition out of your current state. So you should have a very comprehensive, usually people have like anywhere from 5 to 7 pages of the first few sections here, because they're trying to get all of their experience in one spot. Now we transition into what do you want to be doing? So lifestyle, this is a big one. Like, what do you actually want your life to look like when you're a mid-level, mid-senior level person trying to get to senior, director, vice president, C-suite? You have to kind of think about, okay, well, the trajectory of my career, what do I want my life to look like day to day? And brainstorming, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Where am I living? What part of the country am I in? What time zone am I on? Do I have a family? Do I travel a lot? The type of work that I'm doing. This goes back to like your likes and dislikes. Like, who are you? Like, this is basically, who am I? What do I like? What is my zone of genius? What do I want to be doing? How does this match my lifestyle? The type of work, do you want to be remote or in person? Shift schedule? What subjects do you want to be working on? Do you want to be more research? Do you want to be more industrial? Do you want to be more leadership? Do you want to be more visionary? Do you want to be more tactical? This is kind of all of the subcategories that I recommend looking at. So right here, leadership, management, technical. What type of robotics do you want to be in? So there's lots of different areas within robotics. Robotics it's a tool, right? So using robots to do XYZ, using robots to perform a surgery, that might be medical robots. Using robots to make a product, that might be manufacturing. Using robots to diffuse bombs in dangerous environments, that might be military robots. So it's like figuring out what domain are you interested in. So there might be many of them. There might be like domain 1 might be like healthcare. Domain 2 might be surgical, and so then you'll start to see kind of a theme of like, okay, well, maybe I want to be more on like the medical side of robotics, or maybe I want to find opportunities within this domain of the market where they can leverage robots to become more efficient, be more profitable, reduce risk, make it safer. So that's really where you kind of want to brainstorm, like, what domain, what industry do I want to be in? And it's even better if you already have in your previous roles domain knowledge, because if you have domain knowledge in an area, add robotics to it, you're going to be a Swiss Army knife of skills. You're going to be able to bring a lot to the table because you already understand the market, and now you're adding in a tool that makes things more efficient and effective. So it's only a matter of time before a company is like, hey, we want to work with you because you understand the industry and you have a very clear vision of what you're doing with robotics within this marketplace. So I would spend some time really figuring out, okay, well, what do I want to be doing? And the more you can take all these pieces and put them together so that they make sense, the easier it's going to be to actually move the needle and move forward in your career. The next section is rating your background. So rate on a scale of 1 to 5, no experience to expert. So I always have clients just kind of give their best self-assessment on this. And we do this not to point out all the things you need to learn, but to figure out, okay, well, if you have a pocket of skills that are rating 4s and 5s, where maybe it's more technical. So like as you see right here, coding, electronics, mechanics, these are all like heavy technical. So like if you have heavy technical skills, maybe staying more on the technical side makes more sense. Whereas we've got more like domain and leadership and business and maybe more like senior visionary type roles. So technical fellowships, business acumen, leadership. Like if you're rating 4s and 5s on this side, well, maybe that might be the better critical path for you to go down, because you can get to where you want to be faster because you are already an expert in these areas. So what we try to do is play to your strengths versus trying to fix weaknesses that maybe you're not even interested in to begin with. And this is something that I've noticed with professionals is we try to fill in the areas we're not good at instead of just going and doing more of the thing we are already good at. So taking all of the skills we already have and getting even better at them at that next level. And if you can make that switch as a mid-senior level person, then you're going to see significant growth because inherently you're playing to the things you already know how to do. You're not trying, to go back and learn things in a totally new space. So if let's say you're more technical, then maybe going like the technical fellowship route is going to be faster than you trying to be, a strategic leader in an operations group. It might get you to that next level of your career in a faster way because you're playing to your strength. And then the last area is your dream role. So your dream lifestyle, this is where we tie in your family, vacation, work-life balance, retirement, savings, car, house. And I have people actually do the whole deal. So you got a wife or a husband, you've got kids, okay, maybe you have a daughter and her name is Sally or whatever. And like, I literally have like people put their whole like family, not like their whole family tree, but you get it. Like the people that are impacted by their career decisions, I have them put that in kind of here. And I've even had clients go as far as like, well, Sally is a dancer and I need to be at her dance recital. You know, like putting in like, okay, this is a big piece of my life, right? Like if you had the choice to miss your daughter's dance recital or to go to it, then you're going to probably go to it, right? And so I have clients put this on here because we want to shift you into a role that's going to help your life, not make you miss out on your life. And so if you can get really clear, like maybe you have a son and his name is Mike, and Mike is a soccer player, and you know, you want to coach his team, you know, like, so these are the things that I have clients think about. And I can almost bet that if you're watching this, you haven't done this and you might think it's a little silly, but I guarantee you, if you do this and you actually think through like, okay, this is what needs to happen in order for me to accomplish the next step of my career, I can almost guarantee you will be working towards getting it. You will be that much closer to achieving it purely because you've defined it. The other piece is vacation. So I have a few clients. I can think of one of them that their goal was to, take their kids to Disney. And then we went even deeper. We said, okay, well, do you want to be staying at the Motel 8 at Disney, or do you want to be, right at Cinderella's castle inside of their, themed hotel? And it's like, obviously the themed hotel. Okay, well, what is that going to cost? And how many people? So how many people? Like, who is going? How are you gonna fly there? Are you gonna drive there? And you get it. Like we're actually building out a full blueprint, because if you want this stuff to happen, everything has to make sense, right? So if you're making a career decision, you're making a career move, then you're going to be able to take all the things that you want to do. And let's just say this trip is, I don't know, let's say the Disney trip, I'm just going to make up a number. I have no clue if this is a good number or a bad number, but you get the point. You would put in your number here. Let's say it's $3,000. We're doing a Disney trip. You have young kids and that is what you want. Okay. Well, when you go to negotiate the next move, then you have literally a roadmap of like your buy box, like what is going to help you make the move, and is making this move going to get me closer to where I want to be, or is it going to take me off the path? And that's why we do this first, because when companies start presenting you with offers, you're going to be tempted to see the money and whatever and the work hours and whatever they offer you. And sometimes if you're not clear and you don't know exactly what you want, you could make a bad decision because you didn't define what actually constitutes success. So now you have everything mapped out and you can say, okay, well, based on what they're presenting me, based on what I have in my action plan, this is a good decision, or this isn't the right decision, or I want to negotiate like the counter. And we do this for work-life balance. We do this for retirement. So like, what does retirement look like for me? And only you are going to know this. Like, are you planning to be an overspender, like a luxurious retirement? Are you planning to just maintain your current lifestyle? Are you planning to get a new house in somewhere exotic? Like I have clients all over the map with this, where some people, they just want a cabin in the woods, and other people, they're like, nope, I'm going to have 3 homes and they're going to be in this location in this city. It's like, great. What is this going to cost you? And this is not retirement or financial advice. I would encourage you to talk to somebody about retirement and how you can set this up. But if you can at least define what it is you want, then you can kind of figure out, again, reverse engineer, what do I need in order to make this true? Like what has to be true in order for this to exist? Then you've got savings, you've got car. So I've had a few clients who wanted to buy new cars. Great. So just saying you want a new car is not good enough. As you can see with this process, you need to define, okay, what car? Are we looking at a, Toyota Corolla? Or are we looking at my favorite car, the Corvette? And it has to be at least a 2023, right? We can talk more about my love for the new style Corvette, but you've got to kind of define what we want here. Are we spending 100K on a car, or are we spending, 30K on a car? So it's, you want to kind of get this on paper, because as you can start to see, you've got some numbers numbers popping up here. And when you've got this defined for yourself and you're looking at new opportunities, you can say, okay, cool. Is this going to get me where I want to go? This is like roughly what I need to make this happen. And now that you're clear on it, you can go and execute it and you can go do it. Same for your house. I've had a few clients who were moving, like they wanted to move locations. They wanted to, design and build a new home, like a family home, like their dream home. Okay, great. Well, what is that going to cost? It's not like a good or bad thing. It's just, what, opinions aside, what is this going to cost to accomplish this, right? Are we building the dream home on a $500,000 budget, or are we building the dream home on a $5 million budget? Because those are going to kind of dictate how we make decisions. I have clients want to prioritize all this, and this can be based around you. You don't have to copy somebody else's action plan. Like, what you want your lifestyle to look like doesn't have to match this, doesn't have to match anybody else. It's like, what do you see for yourself? And putting it all in one place and getting really clear. Like, if you can even go down layers and layers, like it needs to be blue with, gray and blue interior. It's like, you're getting really clear on this. Okay. Company, where do you want to be working at? So like, if you know the name of the company you want to be at, or a few names, or the type of company, the culture, what level you want to be entering in at. Is this going to be like a senior, like mechanical role? Or is this going to be are you trying to get into the C-suite? Like, you want to be really clear on this. Location, where do you want to work? Job titles, salary, commissions, bonuses, financial comp, vacation time, areas for advancement. Do they pay for insurance? Do they have a retirement plan? And that's basically the 5 steps that you need to advance your career using an action plan as an engineer to get to that next level working in the robotics industry. I do have a few spots left in my robotics mentorship program. So if you want to work with me more closely, where I can give you feedback on your action plan and help you implement this over the next 30, 60, and 90 days, go ahead and click that link in the description below. It's going to send you to an extra 12-minute training that gives you more details around my process. And then if it makes sense, you can apply to work with me. Space is limited, so if you are interested, go ahead and check that out now. But if you're not ready to move forward with me as your mentor, that's totally okay. Here are 2 videos that you can check out that will be helpful for you.